everyone. I'm Yolanda Leotta, poetess and storyteller from Italy. I'm pleased and gratified to have been invited to read my poems in the Global Literature Conclave 2021 and this evening to be here as a host and poetess with exceptional artists from all the world. Congratulations for the prestigious award K.M. Ampru International Literature Prize to the literary activity and contribution to literature to Jack Foley, an eminent personality of the international literary world. I express also my gratitude to the organizer of the exceptional event, Shazil Ampru, and the Literature Redefining World. And now we begin to present the eminent personalities of artists. Giacomo Cuttone. Giacomo Cuttone, Marsala, 1958, participates in the artistic life since 1972, exhibiting by invitation to numerous group exhibitions. He has to his credit several personal exhibitions in the national territory. He illustrated poetry books and literary magazines. In the 1980s, he founded, together with other Sicilian artists, the Visual Arts Cultural Center of Marsala, and together with poet Antonino Pontigliano, as part of the promotion cultural heritage of the Petrosino municipality, gives life to a review of contemporary art and a poetry prize. From 2001 to 2005, he was a member of the board of directors of the painting exhibition body of the municipality of Petrosino. He is a co-author of some texts of collective poetry with intersemiotic editing. In 2013, he published together The Lost Children, CFR Editions, Piratada. He lives in Zaragoza in the Lower Secondary School. Born in Mazzara del Vallo on the 8th of October 1997, he began attending the Liceo Artistico in Palermo in 1972. After graduating from high school, he was disappointed from the art system in which everything moved around exhibitions, criticism, advertising, and especially to the market, and which he often put on the sidelines the work and the figure of the artist, besides to exclude himself from the aesthetic problems of time by moving away of the virtual arts, despite his great passion for painting. He chose to attend the Faculty of Architecture in the Sicilian capital. He graduated in 1979. He qualified as a freelance architect who works full-time until 1984. In the same year, he wins the competition to chair for the teaching of art education in middle schools, and from that moment until retirement, 2017, he begins to divide his days between activities as an architect and teacher. Architectural firms help him expand his own artistic horizon and to change his aesthetic taste, keep updating on tendencies of the art of his time sharing, in all or in part, the theoretical principles, and to paint using both anti-naturalistic and abstract language. When someone asks him the reason that pushes him not to exhibit these works, he replies, I paint for myself, not for others. One day, maybe, I will. Then we have Marianne Zammit. Marianne Zammit is an author of 4 novels in Maltese and 2 in English. Her works and poetry have also been featured in international magazines and anthologies, and set to music and performed, and their artistic works have been exhibited in various collective exhibitions. She has won many awards for her artistic works. Igor Pop-Trykov. Igor Pop-Trykov is a multidisciplinary international artist. He is prolific in the fields of visual arts, include performances, stand-up shows, music gigs, installations, interactive stances, video art, photographs, snapshots, posters, digital prints, acrylics, book illustrations and covers, caricatures, classical and pen drawings. Igor Pop-Trykov is a renowned writer and film director from North Macedonia. Apart from Macedonian language, he is conversant with 8 languages and is famous translator. Fabio Accardo Palumbo. Fabio Accardo Palumbo is born in Aries, Trapani, on 5/8/69. His artistic beginnings are marked by painting of surreal and metaphysical mold, a one-dimensional dreamlike, magical, and transfiguring, infused with Mediterranean atmosphere. At the beginning of the 90s, his use of heterogeneous materials marks the beginning of objects of furniture, planks, stairs, empty frames. All the tones are combined with the presence of painting and natural elements like water, sand, clay, or fire that recall the childhood memories, and two Arvalumbo currently lives and works in Mazzara del Vallo, where he is a teacher of sport in a lower secondary school. Paolo Asaro. Paolo Asaro was born in Mazzara del Vallo, Trapani, on 22 October 1967. His works by painting and sculpture had acclaimed the attention among the artists. In 1995, he moved to Brescia, where he taught painting and devoted himself to abstract painting, exhibiting in solo exhibitions and collective, and subsequently to abstract sound, sculpture, and performance. In continuous research and experimentation, he accompanied his pictorial activity to that of videomaker. In 2006, he founded the independent production label Zer Calo Video Digital Audiovisual Art. In the last years of his stay in Lombardy, he returned to figurative oil paintings. He currently lives in Mazzara del Vallo. Nina Kosmen, Moscow-born Nina Kosmen, is an artist, bilingual writer, poet, translator of Russian poetry, sculptor, and playwright. Among her published works are 3 books of poems in Russian and in English, a collection of short stories, an anthology she edited for Oxford University Press, 2 volumes of translations of Marina Tsvetaeva's poems, and a novel. Russian poems and short stories have been published in major Russian literary magazines. In and outside of Russia, a recipient of many awards, she lives in New York. Congratulations to all the artists.
Okay, we will go to Nina Kosman itself, our fellow member, our cover page artist and long-term associate with us.
I don't know what to say. Basically, I'm glad that your journal was publishing paintings and poems and stories.
Jack Foley, sir, about the artworks shown here.
Well, they went by quickly, so it's a little difficult for me to pick up on anything particularly. But it was very impressive. They were all extremely imaginative. And Nina's work I've seen many times now, and it's always impressive, and it is always expressionistic, I think. I think it comes out of that tradition. And what you get is, especially when you get the titles, because she has very interesting titles which will move your imagination in various directions. I think that's a wonderful thing. So what you get is not realism, but a mixture of realism with expressionism, it seems to me, that you get a sense of a real passion that's happening here. And something is alive in the paintings at the same time that it's not what you can see if you look out your window. And I think that that's extraordinary, that what you get is a feeling of the artist's own conceptions, own imagination. A painting is a kind of window, but it's not a window on the world. No, it's a window. It's not a window on the world. And that's exactly what we get. It's an inner window. And so I think that that's very remarkable. All the others were very interesting as well, but I don't know them. You're welcome. But I don't know them as well as I know Nina's work, because I've seen it so often. Several of your covers have been Nina's work, and they always look spectacular. They look especially good, I think. But everything was very, very interesting.
Gosia.
Hi. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all. It's a great honor to participate in such a great event today. It was fantastic to look at your pictures because, as Mr. Jack said, they are very expressive and they are very impressive. They bring this feeling that we are in a very strange and distant environment, which brings to my mind some feeling of being in somebody's dream, which is very intimate. So I would like to congratulate you on your perfect works. Thank you very much.
Igor Pop Trachkov to speak about his painting and offer some comments about other paintings also.
Yes, I'm very happy that I can participate in this exhibition. Thank you for selecting me. And also I would like to express my admiration for other artists that participated in this. I can, you're telling me to say something about the works of the other artists that I saw here, or in general about, or both?
Both.
Okay, so here I notice one dimension of warmth and what I saw in the videos here, and what I also googled the artists on internet. From these that were presented here, I noticed like the atmospheric presence, more of a like stylized, perhaps reductive beauty, reduced beauty, sorry, of the landscape. So I think it was a lot about nature and landscape, but also about some introspective art. Otherwise, in general, I think this Italian group, I don't see if they're present now. Maybe they can confirm. I think that most of them are like conceptual artists, and they are under older experience. Some of them, they had a lot influence from this new media. And as you can see, I also have experience when I did my first digital collages, like 4 years ago, actually much earlier, maybe 8 years ago. But then it was just a work in process. But they all laughed at me. But anyway, at the Biennale of the students of the, also they presented like a digital milieu, like this is clothing. You know, they have a printer which is like you will paint it, you will draw it on the computer, and it will print it in a form of a cloth. You know, and also there's now the wife of Ellen DeGeneres. She developed a software and a hardware which is a 3D paintings. It's printing. So it's not just like a flat surface, but it's like a way that you can choose whether it is with oil paintings or with acrylic. And in this case, I told you a lot about the technique, but also I'm environmentalist, and maybe my collages here, I saw them in this group, maybe they were like somewhat much different, but the theme was the same. It was about the nature, and it is like we are imprisoning the nature. And as you can see, the window is in a form of so it's in a form of a swastika. You see, it's in a form of a fascist symbol, and it's a window. And you can see how we are enslaving the nature. Here it says air. One is water. You can see the chemical sign, and the other one is the air here on Cyrillic. And you can see everything what we are enslaving: nature, birds, plants, the planet in general. And it's like a globe. And the other concept, it is like a prison. It shows like this is like a fence of a prison. And we can see also here, this is like lemons, but we are reading, everything is polluted. This is roses, the beauty is polluted. And here it is this is a little green that is remained on our streets. And actually they didn't, they told me that this cannot go, this is too much, because the Day of Europe is the day when we beat the fascism.
Thank you, Igor. Now we will move to Margot Sata.
Gap between what I hear and what you hear. I'm going to read two of my poems. As I'm deeply interested in nature, I will read two poems connected with nature. And the first is titled "A Very Cold Spring." We're like this spring, eternal, windy, old as the world, and still in our we slide and quickly put them back without words, without other people's fingerprints, traces of a still fragile hope. We are like this spring, putting our foot out the door, and we go back, take off our warm boots, put on our fears on wrong feet, another way round. We double in them like the spring that can't reach us for good. Camouflaged, it sneaks through the park's alleys and throws us a glint of sunshine on the window frame like arms, vaccinates us with hope. Then comes just a brief post-vaccinal reaction after images of green reflected on the bottom of the eye, and whitened hair and we, the eternal followers of spring, we know that only a greyish meadow, a forest, and the oblivious singing tits can immunize us for everything, even for life. And the second is, and this one is a rhythmic one. It is called The Summer's Half. It was written some 2 weeks ago, so it was exactly in the half of the summer. The summer's half. In half, together, we want to enter it, roll like a pebble, like some warm nuggets on the beach, to sink in summer. And we're dreaming that while along the way through autumn, the one with winds and mud and rain, that we are wrapped in summer music, like in a scarf, which soothes the chills. In winter, when it snows or clouds, when you have wet slush in your shoes, it's the recall of July that sweetens you like honey does. The sun from windows that perched behind a purple curtain and wove a nest of golden threads, may it warm up and brighten time, while out there behind the glass it's cold and wet, wind-combed grass. And then, before spring's in its full swings in the whimpers, squeaks and trills, before the bluebells and the larks let a summer's speck be with us. And we together and in duet, though all in autumn over notes, will roll harmlessly through the words, like two small pebbles in golden shoes.
Now I would like to welcome Olinda Leota. She will be reciting a poem, I think, inspired by a painting.
I want to read a poem. I was inspired by my sister, that is a painter, like my brother and my nephew. But she began as autodidact. She's attracted by different styles of painting, such realism, futurism, abstractism. And she also likes to paint other things that inspired her by Walt Disney. There, I chased the nymphs up to the slopes of the hill overlooking the Sea of Venus. I'll drink the cup of Dionysius, great will be the thrill. I'll sing to the sound of the harp and praise you. Sublime inspiration, I desire you with all my heart. You live in the stone walls and orange blossom. I look for you like a brave knight. I chase you until night falls and climb on the slope in the darkness. To reach your impregnable fortress, I'll enter into dungeon and come to the court singing the praises. As a skinful minstrel, and you'll appear with your unmistakable scent. I'll breathe your magic frankincense, falling into ecstasy, burning with passion. No gust of wind can extinguish the torch of the illumination. Calliope and Erato will rejoice. The echo will reach the pine wood on the sea. The eternal poetry will rise like a thunderbolt, and I live the rest of my life in the castle of my dreams. This castle is the Aragonese castle in my country, Le Castella, Isola Caporizzuto. I want to say something about this amazing place in my country. Among the most impressive castles of Calabria, the Aragonese castle of De Castella, it has over time become a symbol of cultural tourism in the region. Located on a small strip of land overlooking the beautiful Costa dei Saraceni in the hamlet of De Castella town of Isola Caporizzuto, the beautiful fortress of Le Castella, it is what remains of a large area which was to constitute a real village with walls. The latest archaeological surveys has constantly revealed the presence in the adjacent waters of the Aragonese castle architectural blocks from the Hellenistic period, suggesting that the whole area of Lake Castella had to be once more extended towards the sea. The court never hosted the nobility of the place, but always served as a shelter for the soldiers committed against attacks from the sea by the ship invaders. The cylindrical tower that stands centrally within the fort is clear, Angevin branch, and bears testimony to the original plan that should go back to the 14th century. And there is another poem, but it's a song that I like to read if it is possible, and was included in the anthology Il Paese della Poesia, with the preface of Francesco Gazzè. It's a song, it's the right of a song. It's entitled Dream. I painted a dream, you and I together, the most beautiful dream of my life, with two bright tears like fallen stars, the brightest colors I dressed, and I fell hopelessly in love with it. Love has inebriated me, and I was so blinded by its splendor that I thought I was going crazy. Its glow has struck me, and I believed to die, lost now in the ecstasy of love. It's a dream, my dream, but a dream, no, a dream doesn't die. I painted a dream, you and I together, the most coveted dream of my life, with fear looks like stark comets, trembling hands of love quivering. With the red rose petals, I dressed it. I removed the thorns, and I left his heart. Love has inebriated me, and ecstatic I believed to go mad. The desire is so ardent, and I believed to die, forever drowned in that endless sea. I live in the dream, and my dream ended for even me.
I will go to Mary Summit. Tell us some about your paintings, which we have showed at the beginning.
Good evening. It's my pleasure again to be in this conclave, and I know that my paintings have been shown. Basically, short notes about my painting. I work on two mediums, with acrylics and fabrics, and the female nude with charcoal and acrylics. Obviously, my favorite is the female nude, the female figure, because I seek to express what I feel inside, my femininity, my inherent past, and also to connect with the female goddess and experience all the aspects of womanhood, motherhood, every aspect of our lives. Thank you very much, and very well done for this interesting conclave. And it was my great pleasure and honor to be included in this activity. All the best. Thank you.
We talk about poems, about paintings. We've just seen some paintings. We talk about poems about paintings as ekphrastic. I'm going to give you a poem that is not about a painting, but about a poem. And so it's an expoesis. And this poem that I'm talking about is one that, I don't know if you've read it or not. It's a great American poem. It's called Out of the Cradle Endlessly Rocking. It's a 19th century poem by Walt Whitman. It's one of his finest poems. And it struck me as something that I could write about. I don't think there is another poem more unique and simultaneously more representative of what we may call the American spirit than this amazing presentation of the making of a poet, of the transformation of anyone from childhood to a condition of knowledge. How do we enter the world in a deep way? It's a multi-voiced, all sorts of styles and voices are brought together, including the hissing voice of the old crone, the sea, and the voice of the bird, my dusky demon and brother, the lone singer, wonderful. It is a poem about family, the he-bird, the she-bird. It is a poem about the stunning fact of death, the opener, and the great representation of the sea. Melville, the sea is the openness of consciousness. It is a nature poem in which the outsetting bard merges with what he sees. It includes Quakers, Ninth Month Midnight, and Native Americans, Palmonic. It is Whitman giving himself over to the sheer possibilities of music. As world becomes word, translating. It is an act of marvelous empathy and compassion in the literal sense, feeling with. It is a poem about the body and its transformation, even as Whitman speaks of the soul. It is a poem in which the lorn bird and the transforming boy move us to what Wallace Stevens called a new representation of reality. This, camarados, is the great mythic moment of American letters, and it takes place not at a desk, but outside, not as writing, but as brilliant, spontaneous, unexpected utterance. It ushers in, under the magical, multivalent moon, in the presence of the vast, talkative sea, nothing less than the world as song. That's my take on Whitman's poem. When I met Sange, my partner, I was, like somewhere in my early 80s and she was in her 30s. And I didn't think there would be any possibility of our being romantically connected. Happily, that was wrong, but I didn't know it. And I didn't know quite how to communicate with her. I wrote a poem. And the poem, I took the title from Antonin Artaud, 50 Designs to Murder Magic. The magic of my meeting with her, I figured I'd better get rid of it because it wasn't going to happen. Can you say she took your breath away? Yes, I can say that. But you talked on to her, and that required breath. Can you say she was beautiful? Yes, I can say that. Her hair especially was beautiful, and her serious eyes. But she was also exceptionally kind. She listened when you spoke, yes, and laughed when I said something amusing. Yet her laughter seemed almost reluctant, as if she couldn't quite help herself, as if something came from within, as something came from within me. There was no way on earth we could be lovers. As I left to meet you, I thanked her for being so considerate often as she moved.
Now we are going to conclude. Thanks for all who are here and who were here during these last 6 days. I hope a wonderful year will be ahead of us and all of us will be together in the coming days. Now, instead of giving a note of thanks, we have arranged a musical thanks to all. I welcome Sajim Manyamala to perform the musical thanks to everyone. Sajim.
Thank you, dear Shajal sir. My dear friends, welcome to this musical program. I'm Saji Manjamalam, and I am starting this musical event with a patriotic song. Next is my presentation to the Literature Award winner, Jack Foley. This is a piece from Titanic, My Heart Will Go On. Next is a old Hindi song. The meaning of this Hindi song is, while walking, remember this song of mine. Never say farewell. Crying or laughing, keep humming like this. Never say farewell. This is the meaning of this Hindi song. A song from the film Chalte Chalte, sung by Kishore Kumar. Lyric Amit Khanna and music by Bapleri. चलते चलते मेरे ये गीत याद रखना, कभी अलविदा ना कहना, कभी अलविदा ना कहना। चलते चलते मेरे ये गीत याद रखना, कभी अलविदा ना कहना, कभी अलविदा